The first tool is a very simple one, but I find incredibly effective. If you notice that there's these patterns or habits that keep showing up in your life, and you notice yourself using the language, it's like, oh yeah, I'm bad at remembering names. So it's like, oh my gosh, I always forget things, or I I'm just bad at managing my money, or I'm whatever that limiting experience is that you've had, and you might have had it from the time you were born. You might have believed that it was an ingrained personality defect that makes you struggle with that certain thing. Um, if you want to change, it begins with a belief that says, oh, I can change and I can change now. But then a simple shift in language helps reorient the brain so that it knows that you're entering a new chapter. And all it is this. Are you ready for this? It's so simple, but it's really effective. Anytime you notice yourself about to speak an I am statement or about what you're struggling with, instead of starting with I am or I am, start with in the past. Just add the words in the past. I used to struggle with remembering names, but now, and then speak the new desired result that you want to have. It's a really powerful but simple tool to like get your brain just like, oh, okay, well, you mean we're not struggling with this anymore? You mean this is something that I can be done with? In the past, I used to have a hard time, managing my time effectively. But now, and then you speak powerfully the new identity that you're stepping into. Once again, it's incredibly simple, but outrageously powerful. Because remember, whatever you speak, it's like the universe is listening to create that as your reality. So this is why it's really important not to speak the things you don't want, right? So, for instance, just as an example of that, you'll never, ever, ever, ever hear me say, oh my gosh, I'm sick. I will never say I'm sick because I don't want to command that into my reality by those words. So in the past, instead, I would say something like, "Oh, it's like, oh, my body's actively healing right now," which is actually the truth. I'm not sick. There's nothing wrong with my body. Everything's right with my body. If I have a cough, or if I have nausea, if I have a fever, it just means my body is perfectly healthy and it's doing its job. So rather than speaking, oh my gosh, I'm sick, I feel terrible, I'm never going to say those words because that commands my body to be in deficiency and lack. Does that make sense? Instead, I'm going to say, oh my gosh, my body is a miracle. It's getting healthier and healthier all the time. Does that make sense? But just adding the language in the past to an old pattern, old behavior shifts your brain. It's like, oh, okay, that means we're ready for something different. All right. Everyone got that? If you got that, uh, give me a thumbs up, chime in the chat, and say, got it. Simple tool in the past.